Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sustainable Hart, a podcast highlighting the many categories near and passionate to me within the realm of sustainability, conservation, and environmental justice. This podcast series is designed to contribute and foster an understanding of the need to invest in environmental technologies and reduce our global environmental footprint. So, to first understand global sustainability, we must first understand that it is not a one-size-fits-all approach. There are many integrative components, which may or may not necessarily work in the same way that they do in other regions, as well as in varying social constructs and certain economic systems. These all must be taken into consideration. As defined in the University of Florida's Masters of Sustainable Development Practices, or the MDP program, approaches ultimately depend on the context in which they are implemented. In this series, we will explore many topics from various articles on the web, journals published by fellow colleagues that specialize in their own respective subject matter, and overall, just delve deeper into what sustainability actually is. In the future, I will try to publish new content as often as I can, but always feel free to reach out with any suggestions or questions you may have regarding our subject matter, and I will try and make it into our next video. What is sustainability, and why does it matter? Sustainability was first adapted from the Brundtland Report. The first concept of sustainability emerged sometime in 1987 at the United Nations Brundtland Commission, which first defined the concept as meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. This concept was a direct result of the economic industrialization processes of many developing nations where environmental degradation and extreme poverty were already running rampant. We can see these events through the historical lens of many developed nations such as the United States, the United Kingdom, and much of Europe, through the cultural shifts that were a direct result of growing concerns that led to legislation such as the Clean Air and Water Acts of the 1970s, and the United States, the Federal Meat Inspection Act of 1906, the establishment of many national parks under the Roosevelt administration, Rachel Carson's Silent Spring, and many more. These cultural shifts highlight one important fact: the need for economic development that is constrained in proportion to the carrying capacity of our planet and sustained improved quality of life of all organisms that inhabit it. When considering sustainability, we must first understand its role, and therefore the three foundational pillars that must be considered for policymaking, cultural shifts, and economic development, as shown below. When considering sustainability, we must consider these pillars. The environmental pillar, which derives the need to create a viable natural environment. The economic pillar, which derives the need to create a sufficient economy. And of course, the social, which derives the need for nurturing our community through empowerment. As shown in the picture, each varying pillar interacts with one another, such as a sustainable natural and built environment, sustainable economic development, and of course, equitable social environment. These all come together to create what we know as sustainable development. So, of course, let's start with the environmental pillar. Hence its name, the environmental pillar deals exclusively with the intricate relationships with our planet's built environment, its organisms, its resources, and its carrying capacity to sustain our planet. There are many indicators that fall under this pillar that should also be considered. These include ecosystem services, green infrastructure, air, soil, and water quality, environmental stressors, resource integrity, and of course, environmental integrity. And there's the social pillar, which covers the human relationship with sustainability and serves as an integral component that must also be considered. The social pillar also includes a variety of different indicators, such as environmental justice, human health and well-being, participation of stakeholders, education, resource security, poverty, and sustainable communities. And then the economic pillar, which deals with arguably the most important system to many developed and developing countries, the economy. And sustainability must consider the indicators for the economic pillar as well, being jobs, incentives, supply and demand, natural resource accounting, cost and prices, and many others. I will cover each of these more in depth in another video, so be on the lookout for that. So to wrap up, sustainability practices assumes that our planet's resources are finite, every single one of them, and therefore we should keep long-term priorities and consequences of how we utilize these resources for the sake of our children, our grandchildren, and our future generations to come. So we will delve deeper into this subject in more videos to come. I'm happy you took the time to join us on this journey, and I can't wait to have you along for the ride. As always, this is Sustainable Hart.